You're 17, broke, hungry, tired of asking your mom for money she doesn't have. School lets out at 3:15. You walk home past the same corner store every day. A guy named Dre stands outside at most afternoons. Gold chain, clean sneakers, a calm you don't understand yet. One day he stops you. "You need to make some money, lil' man." You should say no. You say yes. He hands you a plastic bag, doesn't tell you what's in it. Walk it 3 blocks, give it to the guy in the red hat, don't look inside, don't stop walking. Your hands shake the whole way. Every car that slows down feels like it's watching you. You make the drop. Red hat nods, says nothing, walks off. You go back to Dre. He puts $50 in your palm. $50, more than you've held in a month of allowance and odd jobs combined. You go home, you don't tell anyone. That night, you lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Something in your chest feels different, lighter and heavier at the same time. That's it. That's the door. You just walked through it, and you don't even know it yet. Level 2. A week later, Dre calls you again. Not a question this time, an assumption. Same time tomorrow. You show up. 3 blocks becomes 6 blocks. 6 blocks becomes a route you know by heart. You start noticing things you never noticed before. Which streetlights are broken, which alleys don't have cameras, which cars belong to the block and which ones don't. You learn police shift changes without anyone teaching you. You just start counting patterns, like a survival instinct waking up. Dre starts calling you by name in front of other people. On these streets, that means you exist now. You buy new shoes. Your mom asks where the money came from. You tell her you've been cutting grass around the neighborhood. She looks at you a second too long. She doesn't ask again. You tell yourself this is temporary, just enough to help out, just enough to get ahead. Everyone tells themselves that in level 2. Almost nobody stays in level 2. Level 3. 6 months in, you get your own corner, your own product, your own risk, your own decisions to make in half a second. 3 a.m., an empty gas station lot on the edge of town. A stranger's car idles under a broken light, window cracked, hand out, waiting. You've done this exchange 50 times now. Your heart still slams against your ribs every single time. You start carrying a knife, just in case. You tell yourself it's just for protection. You almost believe it. One night, blue and red lights flash 2 blocks away. You don't wait to see if they're coming for you. You run, through backyards, over a chain-link fence that cuts your palm. A dog barks somewhere close, loud enough to wake the street. You don't get caught, but your hands are shaking again, worse than level 1. You sit behind a dumpster for 20 minutes catching your breath. For the first time, you really feel the weight of what caught would actually mean. Not a lecture from your mom, a record, a cage, a different life entirely. You go back out the next night anyway. Level 4. The money adds up now. Real money, stacks of it, wrapped in rubber bands, hidden in a shoebox under your bed. You can't put it in a bank. 18-year-olds don't walk into banks with $10,000 in cash without questions. You start moving weight instead of grams. Bigger amounts, bigger buyers, bigger consequences if something goes wrong. The people above Dre start to notice you. Word travels fast in a world built on reputation. One night, Dre drives you to a house you've never been to. Quiet street, nice cars parked outside, curtains drawn even in daylight. Inside is a man that doesn't smile. He doesn't raise his voice either. He doesn't need to. "You want to keep playing corner boy, or you want to make real money," he says. You already know your answer before he finishes the sentence. You just nod. That nod changes the next 10 years of your life. Level 5. Now you're not selling anymore. You're supplying the people who sell. You've got runners under you, 15, 16-year-old kids who remind you of yourself 2 years ago. You see the same hunger in their eyes that used to be in yours. Sometimes that bothers you. You push the feeling down and keep moving. You drive a car registered under someone else's name. You pay a lawyer's retainer fee before you've ever even met him, just in case.
Cash gets counted in a locked back room, twice, by two different people. Nobody trusts anybody completely, but everybody has to trust somebody. Trust becomes its own currency, more valuable in some ways than the money itself. You buy your mom a car, tell her it's from a work bonus. She stops asking questions altogether now. You still can't sleep some nights. You tell yourself it's just adrenaline, just the hustle, just business. Deep down, some part of you knows that's not the whole truth. Level 6. You're 22 now. Product is moving across state lines. Trucks, storage units, shell businesses with names nobody questions. A car wash that never has customers. A vending machine company with routes that don't make sense. A laundromat where half the machines don't even run. None of them turn a real profit on paper. All of them exist for one reason: to make your money look clean. You meet men in tailored suits who never touch a single package. They only touch numbers, spreadsheets, wire transfers. Watching them, something clicks in your head. The real power was never in the product. The real power was in the laundering, in the paperwork, in making dirty money disappear into legitimate columns. You start reading books on business, on tax law, on corporate structuring. You read them at 2 a.m. with a gun in the nightstand drawer beside you. Something in you begins to shift, quietly, permanently. Level 7. You're 26 now. You haven't slept in your own bed in 8 days. You carry 3 phones, one for family, one for business, one that gets wiped and destroyed every 30 days without exception. The laundromat chain is real now. 7 locations, real employees who punch actual time cards, real payroll running through a real bank. Almost none of them know what actually funds the expansion. You've become an expert at building walls between your two lives, brick by brick. But paranoia lives inside those walls too. You check your mirrors twice as long as you used to. You flinch at unmarked sedans idling at the end of your street. You buy a house under an LLC. You buy a second one nobody but your inner circle knows about. You're rich now. You're also never fully at peace again, and some part of you knows it never comes back. Level 8. A real opportunity lands on your desk. Not a street opportunity, a legal one. A logistics company is dying, behind on debt, desperate for capital. You have capital, patient, hungry, untraceable capital. You buy in through a shell corporation. Nobody asks where a 27-year-old got $2 million in liquid cash. Money rarely gets interrogated when it's moving in the right direction. You restructure the company the way you used to run your corners. Tight routes, trusted people, zero wasted movement. 8 months later, it turns a profit, a real profit, a reportable, taxable, legitimate profit. You sit in your office at midnight staring at the numbers on the screen. You realize something terrifying and beautiful at the exact same time. You are better at this than you ever were at the streets. The streets were survival. This is mastery. Level 9. You start pulling back from the old world, slowly, carefully. Everyone who's tried to pull back fast has ended up dead or in a courtroom. You let the younger guys take over the corners. You let the quiet man with no smile keep control of the shipments. You keep the laundromats. You keep the logistics company. You make absolutely sure your name never appears on anything that actually matters. 5 years pass inside this one chapter of your life. You start wearing suits instead of hoodies. You sit in boardrooms instead of parked cars at 3 a.m. Nobody in those rooms knows where your first dollar came from. Nobody asks. Success rarely gets cross-examined. You've built a wall so high that even you sometimes forget what's standing on the other side of it. Some nights, staring at the ceiling of a house you legally own, you almost believe your own story. Level 10. You're 32 now. CEO now. A real title, a real company, 42 employees, a logo, a mission statement framed in the lobby. Business magazines want to profile you. Self-made, they'll call you, again and again in glossy print. You let them believe it. It's easier than explaining the truth. It's easier than explaining level 1. Sometimes you drive past your old block. The corner store is still standing, faded and smaller than you remember. Dre isn't there anymore. Nobody's seen him in almost 6 years. Nobody talks about what happened. You built an empire out of the wreckage of who you used to be, but empires built on buried things always have unstable foundations, whether you can see the cracks yet or not. Level 11. Business is expanding faster than you can fully control. You open 2 new offices. You hire a real board of directors. You start dating someone who has no idea about your first 15 years. You lie by omission every day, and it gets easier every time you do it. You donate to local charities. You sponsor a youth basketball league 2 blocks from where you used to run product. Some nights you wonder if it's guilt or Brandon. You're not entirely sure anymore. Your old associates start reaching out again. Some need money, some need favors, some just want to remind you where you came from.
You help a few of them, quietly, carefully, from a distance. It feels like paying rent on a past you can never fully move out of. For a while, life almost feels stable. Almost. Level 12. A federal subpoena arrives on a Tuesday morning. Your assistant hands it to you like it's just another piece of routine mail. It isn't. An old associate got picked up on an unrelated charge 2 states away. Now he's talking. Names, dates, bank account numbers from 12 years ago. Your lawyer's face tells you everything before he says a single word. They're building a case, a big one, going back years. You sit in your corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city skyline you helped build a piece of. For the first time in over a decade, your hands start shaking again. Exactly like they did holding that first bag, 3 blocks, $50, a lifetime ago. Level 13. The investigation drags on for months. Agents interview your former employees, your accountants, people you haven't spoken to in 15 years. Your company's stock, small as it is, takes a hit the moment word leaks. Board members start distancing themselves. Emails go to voicemail. You spend nights going through old records, trying to remember exactly which shell held which asset in exactly which year. You realize you built a labyrinth so complex that even you sometimes get lost inside it. The person you're dating finds out from a news article, not from you. That conversation is worse than any conversation you've ever had with a federal agent. You start losing sleep in a different way now. Not adrenaline, dread. Level 14. Final level. The trial takes 11 months from start to finish. Your company's name gets dragged through every local and national headline. Some employees stand by you, publicly, loyally. Most quietly update their resumes and disappear. The judge calls it, in his closing remarks, one of the most sophisticated laundering operations this court has encountered in years. You call it survival, dressed up over time in nicer and nicer language. You lose the company. You lose both houses. You lose people you thought would never leave. You keep one thing you didn't expect to keep: clarity. Sitting in a cell for the first time, you finally let yourself think back. Level 1. A plastic bag, 3 blocks, $50 in your palm. You didn't know then that every level after would cost more than the one before it. Money, sleep, trust, people, eventually yourself. Some doors only look small when you're standing right in front of them. It's only years later, looking back down that long hallway, that you finally see how far they actually led you. And somewhere out there right now, in some city, on some corner, another kid is being handed a bag, being told not to look inside, being told it's just this once. The cycle doesn't end when one person falls. It just finds a new level 1 and waits for someone else to walk through the door.